Welcome to Green Building Matters, the original and most popular podcast focused on the green building movement. Your host is Charlie Cicchetti, one of the most credentialed experts in the green building industry and one of the few to be honored as a lead fellow. Each week, Charlie welcomes a green building professional from around the globe to share their war stories, career advice, and unique insight into how sustainability is shaping the built environment. So settle in, grab a fresh cup of coffee, and get ready to find out why green building matters.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Green Building Matters podcast. I've been doing the podcast almost 6 years now. It's unbelievable. It's one of the funnest things I do. Once a week, I get to interview a green building professional somewhere in the world. And today, coming to us from Sao Paulo, down in Brazil, I've got one of the newly minted lead fellows. I've got David Douek here. He's the development director at OTEC. Can't wait to learn more about sustainability down there in Latin America and just kind of David's career. So, David, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Charlie. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. I hope that people enjoy, that I'm sharing my experience, and hopefully they're gonna take advantage of it.
You're gonna inspire many here. I know a little bit about your background, and I know you have a lot of credentials and experience after your name. But just to kind of give us some framework about you, David, take us back. Where did you grow up, and where did you go to school?
Well, I grew up in Sao Paulo. I am married. My wife and I are proud parents of a lovely daughter who is crazy about singing and acting.
Okay.
Regarding my educational journey, it began at Mackenzie University, where I pursued a bachelor's degree in business administration. I believe that this course ignited my passion for the world of business. Afterward, I ventured into architecture and urbanism at the University of São Paulo, called USP in Brazil. I returned to USP for a Master of Science in Business Administration, but my educational journey didn't stop there. I am currently working towards the end of a PhD in Business Administration at USP as well.
Wow.
In addition to these formal educational experiences, I sought to enhance my skills through various additional programs, such as urban analytics and big data analytics research. And I also explored programming in R at the Mathematics and Statistics Institute, gaining valuable insights into data analysis. I also took part in a real estate investment program at Getúlio Vargas Foundation. And in 2007, I ventured to Colorado State University in the United States, of course, for a green building certification program embracing the principles of sustainability. To enhance my understanding of financial markets, I completed the Financial Market Operations program at SIA as well. And lastly, I have also earned the titles of Lead AP, Lead Fellow, Well AP, FITO Ambassador, and Edge Expert. So this is pretty much my educational background, which has been a blend of diverse experiences, each contributing to my growth and perspective.
I love it. For those listening, you got to check out David's LinkedIn profile. You're a lifelong learner. I mean, all these amazing universities, these credentials, these certificates, you must just love learning. But I've got to ask, part of your story, business, and you're still going for more business degrees, but architecture. So did someone influence you? How'd you get the crazy idea to study architecture along with business?
Well, I believe that this has a lot to do with what we do at OTEC. Strongly believe that to improve the quality of the buildings, we have to understand what they represent for the market. You see, so what I mean is that in microeconomics terms, buildings has to serve the society, and in general, decisions come from people who is going to decide where to put their money. So our understanding is that technicalities and finances have to work together. So this is why, I got so involved with both sides, architecture, construction, design, and business and finances. This is the reason why I decided to pursue both of them, because I thought that this way I could help my clients in a better way.
I love that. No, thank you for connecting. Now, what about sustainability? I love to ask my podcast guest, David, when did sustainability or even green buildings, when did you first see that in your studies or in your career?
Well, before I started OTEC, I ran a design and construction firm, for 10 years. And I started to think about what I was doing, what was the meaning of designing and building for the society. And I started researching for what I could do to improve the quality of the services we were providing. At that time, sustainability and the US GBC existed already in the United States, of course. And I started to research about it until I met Ms. Tessany Vanik, the founder of the Brazilian Green Building Council. But at that time, the Brazilian Green Building Council didn't exist yet. But she was involved with the foundation of it. And her name was on the USGBC website. I called her. I said, I want to help. And we spoke for about 4 hours. And she introduced me to a couple of interesting guys involved with this industry in the United States. One of them is Professor Brian Dunbar, and I went to the US to study with him. So this is when it all started. I was able to find something that would fulfill my needs of improving the quality of the real estate industry in Brazil.
That is exciting. And sounds like a great early mentor, someone to study with. And that's kind of my next question. Who else, David, maybe had some influence? Did you have any formal or informal mentors along the way?
Yeah, sure. In addition to Ms. Tessany Vanik and Professor Brian Dunbar, Mr. Michael Holt, the former owner of Architectural Energy Corporation, a firm based in Boulder, Colorado. His company was a great consulting firm, and one of his colleagues at the company, one of my professors at the Institute for the Built Environment. And when I saw what they were doing there, I said, I want to do this in Brazil. And he introduced me to Mr. Michael Holt. He looked at me, he said, why not? Let's do it. I spent some time with them learning everything, the American way. You know that in American culture, data is important, the procedures, the standards. So culturally, technically, the background I had with AC was amazing. And a couple of weeks later, I flew back to Brazil. I started the company together with who is our technical director today, Ms. Ana Limonge França. She is a PhD in architecture as well. She's a great researcher. But back to Mr. Michael Holt, he decided to support our endeavor. He wanted the green building industry to grow. So he saw an opportunity in the way I was expecting it to be. And not only we worked together, we became very close friends. He even attended my wedding. So it was an amazing opportunity, an amazing history, and I'm glad it happened this way.
Very exciting mentors, those to learn from. You've told us how you got into business and architecture. So let's just do one more look back on the career so far, and then we'll talk present day. But David, what are some of your proudest achievements?
Well, I take immense pride in all of my achievements, and I mean it. Each one holds a special place in my heart. However, if we focus on accomplishments that have garnered recognition in the market, I would emphasize our pioneering endeavors. This includes being the first in Latin America to have a soccer stadium certified with LEED, achieving the first certification for a cultural center, and securing Brazil's first LEED Bomb Platinum certification, among others. I believe that blazing the trail as pioneers certainly comes with a set of challenges, but the satisfaction of overcoming them in collaboration with my team and clients were truly gratifying.
And you've got a lot of credentials. You love to learn, I can tell. And then you get LEED Fellow. So tell us, what has this meant to you? I know there's been a big celebration at the recent Green Build conference. And, what does that mean to you?
Well, that's a very good question. First of all, it brought me the opportunity of getting to know people like you. So this is huge for me. I believe that the clients are proud of getting to know that their consultant is one of the leaders in the market. But for me, in a personal level, I was happy to have the opportunity of looking back and seeing how much I have done. And I believe that this idea of having a special recognition for those who began the industry in my case, in the Brazilian market, it was really something to celebrate. I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, congratulations. And for our listeners, the Tier 1 is the LEED Green Associate exam, right? 100 questions, multiple choice. And Tier 2 is a LEED AP with a specialty. But this Tier 3 LEED Fellow, it's peer nominated. It's a pretty selective process. And just know this is something, if you dedicate your career to green buildings, you have to have been a LEED AP for at least 10 years. But it's a really exclusive club. Out of 200,000 LEED professionals in the last 20 years, there's only about 360 or so LEED fellows. So again, congratulations. And thanks for telling your story on our podcast. So let's talk present day. Tell us about OTEC. You've told us that you had a design and construction company for 10 years, and then you get into this company, OTEC. So tell us a little more about your company, your team, and what you're really good at.
Well, at OTEC, I had the privilege of serving as the development director since 2007 when I founded the company. And for that, I take great pride in the achievements and contributions I have made to the company and to the green building industry so far. Before my current role at OTEC, as I mentioned, I worked with design and construction. So when I started the firm, I knew exactly what were the challenges a designer, contractor, a developer has to incorporate sustainability within the process. So I believe that this is one of the reasons we established ourselves as a great consulting firm. We're not the largest, but certainly one of the most respected. But, as I said, this is really important for me because when I see clients getting back to us for other projects, we have clients working with us for more than 10 years now. So it means a lot. And this is part of the story. I mean, I hope I answered this question of yours.
Yeah, I can just see your excitement, business, entrepreneurship, creating jobs, and very respected there in Brazil, which, as I get to know Brazil, large country, large market, and a lot of sustainability. So, one thing I see on your bio is a lot about WELL. So could you speak to that a little bit? Are you still seeing some WELL HSR, some WELL certifications, post-pandemic? Is there still a need for healthy building certifications? How's it going in Brazil?
It's been great, but I think we have to take a few steps back, Charlie, because I would like listeners to bear in mind that nowadays they shouldn't only be looking at environment or wellness. they should think about what we have already talked about, ESG, and environment, social, and governance. They should look at the role buildings have within a company's context. What I mean by that is usually companies interested in, for example, getting more investment, they want to show to this potential investor or stakeholders in general that they are more sustainable than the others, that their risk is lower than in other companies. So when you have this idea that the buildings are part of the organization, and if they are more sustainable, where social aware, they are gonna help the performance of the company. Now you know where you want to go. So I believe that wellness is important, but should be incorporated in a much larger perspective. That's it.
That's a good read. Now, thank you for reminding us of that. Well, what else is keeping you busy today? Any neat projects you want to talk about?
Well, we have a wide variety of projects nowadays, but I believe that what's been keeping me busy is really try to keep my clients updated with all that's happening in this market. For example, the LEED V5, which is about to come, new certifications such as WELL Equity, in addition to WELL Health and Safety and WELL. So as far as I'm concerned, there are still plenty of people not aware of all the possibilities they have in the market. For example, there are certifications for carbon, for energy, for water, for waste. So nowadays, you don't need to certify your whole environment impact. You can certify your carbon footprint. So what I love the most is to help my clients and whoever is interested in understanding what is their ESG strategy regarding their facilities.
Yeah, I know you and I have been doing green buildings a long time. It used to be one building at a time. Now it's what's your company's ESG strategy? What's your portfolio? Right? We've had to zoom out, and now we can make a bigger difference. But speaking on that,
Yeah, last week I had a meeting with GRESB, for example. And for those who are not acquainted with GRESB, it's not a certification. No, it's an annual report on the portfolio level. So mostly real estate funds, I would pursue the high performance in this report. And so what I'm trying to say here is that when we started, with LEED, we were only looking at the asset. We have to bear in mind that sustainability in the construction industry began with the certification of an office building. You are aware of that, right? So nowadays we can do whatever we want, with anything that's built. It can be, for example, a road, an avenue, a plaza. You have the Envision certification as well, for those built environment which are not, the regular floor, ceiling, and walls. So we need to help them with their strategy, not only with providing a certification consulting services. That's it.
We've come a long way since that first green office. That's for sure. I love it. So let's talk about the future. What's kind of exciting to you? What are you kind of reading up on or excited about? What's kind of next in this green building movement?
First of all, we have to know where we want to be. I like to think that ideally, we would have a society in which we don't need to worry about sustainability, about wellness. I mean, it's something that it's incorporated already in the design and construction process. Does it make sense, Charlie? Yeah. So, but we're not there yet. Okay. So our goal, and this is why I told you that, and I want to explain the background of how we look at things is we want to drive the market towards this ideal situation. No, we have a long way to go, but this is what moves us. Try to understand what's the ideal situation, where we are, and how we can move from where we are to where we want to be. In practical terms, this means that, first of all, this is not going to happen like magic. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing improvement. Those familiar with the ISO certification, an ongoing process in which you improve from year to year. So what drives us today is help the clients increase their performance towards a concrete and a reasonable goal.
I'm optimistic. You've been doing this a while, and you've got your lead fellow now. And, there's certain green building things in Brazil that are harder to do and certain things that are easier to do. When I interview someone outside the U.S., I love to ask David just, where does maybe your country really get it? And where is it still kind of hard? Is it kind of like recycling or renewables? I don't know. Where do you think Brazil gets it right currently with green buildings? Where do you think you can do a little better?
Well, as I said, we can always improve. But if you consider that I have been in the market for 16 years now, I can tell you we have gone a long way since we started. I remember a time when you would call suppliers asking for performance information, and they would say, wow, this guy's crazy. He doesn't know. I don't know what he's talking about. And now, mostly with, large and medium companies, you can call them and ask for information about heat transfer or whatever you need for your energy model, for example, and they will at least understand what you're talking about. So I believe that the main difference between the American and the Brazilian market is the level of the standards and the procedures and legal demands, to incorporate, criteria into the building design. So our hope is that in the coming years, more and more procedures are being legally included to, the design and construction procedures. That's it.
Got it. No, well said. Well, let's get to know you a little more. Some kind of rapid fire questions. What would you say is your specialty or gift?
Well, to be sincere, I believe that my specialty or gift is so far in my career could be summed up by the saying, the more I work, the luckier I am. I believe in the power of hard work and education. So to me, hard work is the key to success and achieving one's goal. So probably my gift is the willingness to put in the effort required to go the extra mile.
Good stuff. Do you have any good habits or routines that help you?
Well, the routines and rituals that contribute to what I do is a steadfast commitment to my goals and deep sense of respect to everyone I interact with, whether they are clients, collaborators, colleagues, or anyone else. Again, hard work is also a key component, but above all, I prioritize thoughtful actions that align with both my personal objectives and the goals of my clients.
Love it. Well, as we get to know each other a little more, you'll learn I'm a fan of the bucket list. Some people like travel, adventure. Maybe you want to write a book. What are a couple of things maybe on your bucket list?
Well, first one, and I'm about to accomplish this, is to finish my PhD. I fell in love with researching, and I have two passions in addition to my family, of course, which is my company and researching. So finishing my PhD is something I'm proud of. Seeing my company grow and help many other facilities, projects is something I hope I'll be able to do in the future. And I think that I'm a hardworking man. I love to work and see many other buildings and many other projects, increase their level of sustainability. And I know it might sound expected what I'm saying, but it's really from the bottom of my heart.
I love it. Now, travel. Is there a place you've never been you want to go, or is there a place you want to go back to? What's one spot?
Well, I love to travel. I've been to a few amazing places. I go quite often to the United States. I've been in Europe a few times. I've never been to Japan or China, so these are probably the next countries I'd like to visit.
I love it. All right, well, how about books? Is there a book you'd recommend to our listeners? Maybe even a documentary? What would you recommend? It doesn't even have to be about buildings.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm currently reading The Fourth Turning. Have you ever heard about it? It was recommended by a great friend. It's a book that proposes a theory of generational cycles in American history. It suggests that history unfolds in a repeating pattern of four turnings: high, awakening, unraveling, and crisis. Each turning has distinct characteristics and societal changes. According to the theory, these turnings repeat every 80 to 100 years and can help predict and understand the dynamic of historical and societal changes. The fourth turning is characterized by a major crisis that forces society to come together and rebuild. If you observe, Charlie, the current state of affairs with conflicts erupting worldwide and reflect on how long ago the Second World War concluded, one could add that we may be on the cusp of another significant turning point. Hopefully, we will witness the unfolding of what lies ahead.
Man, I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes. I'd heard about it, not read it. So thank you so much. All right, David, as we start to wrap up, two final questions. I'm really enjoying getting to know you here and your story. When you look back on your career, is there any advice you wish you'd have known earlier?
Well, I consider myself fortunate to have received unwavering support from my wonderful parents, an amazing family, close friends, and a fantastic team, and dedicated mentors who we spoke about and have been my guiding lights on this journey. So I genuinely have no reason to complain. I wouldn't do anything different from what I did, I think so. I'm very thankful for the support I had. And I'm happy that I don't have to face my challenges, alone. So that's it.
And last question. So let's say someone's listening, they're getting inspired by your story. Maybe they're in Latin America and they really want to get into green buildings. If someone's just now jumping into this movement, this green building movement, it's been good to you, it's been good to me. Do you have any words of encouragement for them as we wrap up?
Well, certainly I do. First, I would ask this person to bear in mind that the realm of green building has undergone substantial transformation. So those who believe in their ability to effect change in this world should consider entering this market, though it requires the introduction of novel materials, innovative technologies, fresh procedures, and above all, individuals committed to driving the necessary changes or at the very least improvement. So if anyone sees himself, bringing to the table this novel materials, these innovative technologies and fresh procedures, should definitely enter the market. He's certainly going to be successful and help our industry towards the goal we were talking about previously.
Well, everybody, make sure you connect with David on LinkedIn. Check out the work he and his team at OTEC are doing down in Brazil and other regions. And hey, I just want to say thank you for your time today. Congrats on your lead fellow. And I know we'll be seeing more of each other. Thanks, David. Really appreciate it.
It was a great pleasure, Charlie. Nice chat. I hope we see again each other soon.
It did great.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Green Building Matters podcast. At gbes.com, our mission is to advance the green building movement through best-in-class education and encouragement. Remember, you can go to gbes.com/podcast for any notes and links that we mentioned in today's episode. And you can actually see the other episodes that have already been recorded with our amazing guests. Please tell your friends about this podcast. Tell your colleagues. And if you really enjoyed it, leave a positive review on iTunes. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on next week's episode.